Hello again, everybody. Here we are in our third section, to section 5.7, and really all it is a summary of the factoring things that we've talked about. But what I've got here is steps for factoring. So we always want to look for a GCF, if there is one, factor it out. If the polynomial has two terms, it's going to be either a difference of squares or the sum or difference of cubes. And just remember, if it is the sum of squares, it does not factor. Difference of squares factors, sum of squares does not. If it's three terms, you can see if it's a perfect square, trinomial, factor it into a binomial squared. If it's not a perfect square trinomial, then you're either going to make the big X and look for factors of that third term that add up to be the middle term, or you're going to have to use the guess and check. And then if it has more than three terms, you're going to try factoring by grouping. And then the last thing, look at your terms and see if they have any GCFs, because if you missed a GCF, you can find it here in this last step. Okay, so here we go. I've got some examples for you. This won't take long, I promise. Okay, so first one, GCF. GCF I'm going to factor out is x cubed, x cubed. And that leaves me with x squared. Oh, let's factor out a 2x cubed, excuse me. That leaves me with an x squared minus 4. Right, because 2x cubed times x squared is 2x to the fifth. 2x cubed times 4 is 8x cubed. Okay, so that's just a GCF. Now what I've got here is a difference of squares. So this difference of squares is going to factor x plus 2 and x minus 2. You bring down your 2x cubed. Okay, so that one was a difference of squares. Okay, done with that one. Down here, I'm going to factor out a 3x squared. That leaves me with x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, so this one, you can either look at it as a perfect square trinomial, because x squared is a perfect square and 9 is a perfect square. And this middle term is the x times the 3 doubled. Or you can just say, I'm going to look for factors of 9 that add up to be negative 6, and it would be negative 3 and negative 3. So either way, you're going to factor this into x minus 3 and x minus 3, and you have your 3x squared. If you did it as a perfect square trinomial, it would probably look like this. 3x squared times x minus 3 squared. Either one is fine. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go to this one. I'm going to factor out a y, and that leaves me with y plus 25. Oops, y squared plus 25. And what that is a sum of squares, but a sum of squares is not factorable. There are no two binomials that you can multiply together to get y squared plus 25, so it's not factorable. Okay, now we've got three terms. There is no GCF, so all I can do, and since this is not a 1 here, I can't use that little technique where I look for factors of 4 that add up to be 11. So all I can do is guess and check. So over here I can have 6 times 1 or 3 times 2. I'm going to try 3y and 2y. I know these are both minuses. And over here I've got either 4 times 1 or 2 times 2. I'm going to try the 2 times 2 first. And then we have to check the outside and the inside. Outside gives me negative 6y. Inside gives me negative 4y, which does not add up to be a negative 11y. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to change these two to 4 and 1. Now the outside gives me negative 3y and the inside gives me negative 8y, which does add up to be a negative 11y. So now I know 3y minus 4 and 2y minus 1 is correct. Okay, so now, oops, I already have that. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to factor out a 2x. That leaves me with x cubed plus 8. X cubed plus 8 is a sum of cubes. The x is x cubed and the 8 is 2 cubed. So I'm going to have 2x out here. I'm going to have a binomial and I'm going to have a trinomial. This is going to be x plus 4. No, it's not. X plus 2, excuse me. Because this is whatever was cubed here and this is what is cubed there. And then here I'm going to have x squared. This sign was the same as the one up there. This one is opposite, and this is going to be 2x, because it's just 2 times x. And this one is always positive, and it's the 2 squared, which is 4. So once again, this sign is the same as this one up here. This one is opposite, and this one is positive. Okay? So it's 2x times x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 4. Yep. Okay. Okay, now we have, let's see, I'm going to, got 3 terms, so I'm going to factor out a 2b cubed. That leaves me with 2a b cubed. Let's say that again. I'm going to factor out a 2a b cubed. That leaves me with b squared plus 4b plus 1. And that is not further factorable, because since there's a 1 over here in front of the leading coefficient here, I need factors of 1 that add up to be 4, and there aren't any factors of 1. The only factors of 1 are 1 and 1, and that doesn't add up to be 4. So can't factor anymore. Okay, and down here we've got 4 terms, so I'm going to try and do this by grouping. So I'm going to factor out a 2x. That leaves me with 2x minus 3. And here I'm going to factor out an a, and that leaves me with 2x minus 3. And remember, I said these two things will always be the same. So then I factor out a 2x minus 3. That leaves me with, this goes away and this goes away. That leaves me with 2x plus a. Okay, so that is my overview of factoring. So I'm going to send out an email, and it's going to give instructions on how to join the meeting on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And I will be taking roll. So please make sure that you log on. You don't have to participate, but you do have to log on. Okay? I will talk to everybody on Tuesday. Also, feel free to give me an email if you have questions. I'll be checking my email constantly. So if you have any questions, just feel free to email. Okay? Hope everybody is well and safe. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.